Now You Know BC is brought to you by Return It. Don't trash your empty beverage containers. Return them for the deposit refund.
Welcome to the very first episode of Now You Know BC. My name is Bob Kronbauer. I'm also known as BC Bob. In this series, I'm going to take you all around this great province of ours. Over the past couple decades, I've been working as a journalist and a storyteller. I founded the publication Vancouver is Awesome that you may have heard of, and I left it after 16 years so I can now spend all of my time researching and telling stories about British Columbia to British Columbians, to you. I'm going to introduce you to some interesting people, some places to go, things to see, things that happened in our past, our collective stories. And today, I'm going to be telling you all about Sasquatch. Did you know that the word Sasquatch was sort of invented in BC around 100 years ago? It's true. In the States, they call the mysterious, huge creature of the woods Bigfoot. But all throughout Canada, most of us call him Sasquatch. Many books have been written about the search for the beast, and some of the people who have written them have spent their entire lives doing that. Endless pieces of Sasquatch merchandise have been bought and sold. Countless brands have used him in their marketing, not the least of which was BC's very own Kokanee beer back in the 1990s.
Today, we're in the home of one of BC's best-known personalities. Mr. Sasquatch?
Oh, call me Sask.
Okay, Sask, a lot of people want to know about your loves, your hates, you know.
Well, Bob, is it Bob?
Yeah, it's Bob.
Yeah. Shy away from taxidermists and furriers, as you can imagine. But I do like Kokanee.
Those commercials were incredible. A Sasquatch museum recently opened in Harrison Hot Springs. That's the town where they hold the annual Sasquatch Days Festival and where you'll find no less than 10 wooden Sasquatch statues that you can take your photo with. When you're done visiting the statues, you can take a tour where you'll go out and look for a Sasquatch in the area. I have actually been on one of these tours. A guy named Thomas Steenberg took me out deep into the forest on his side-by-side. As we were making our way up the mountain, I asked Thomas what the chances were of us spotting one that day. And he told me, slim to none. Turns out he's never even seen it, despite being one of those people who has spent most of their adult life looking for it and writing multiple books about the subject. So, on our tour, eventually we got to a lookout point, way above Harrison Lake, and he stopped the vehicle and told me the colonized story of Sasquatch. Looking out at the lake, he pointed to a bunch of places way off in the distance where people said they had spotted it. He dug out a map, and he pointed to the most recent sighting locations on it, and then he pulled out a footprint casting that was taken at the site of the most famous Sasquatch sighting ever. It's known as the Patterson-Gimlin film, and it was shot in California. People sell casts taken from the tracks that they apparently found at the same site in the 1960s. Steenberg owns a few of them. Across the other side of the lake from where me and Thomas were is the home of the Sts'ailes First Nation, right near Harrison Mills. The Sts'ailes people actually believe that the hairy beast of the woods is a spirit creature. My friend Kelsey Charlie from the Nation explained to me that their community believes it to be a supernatural being, and they believe that for millennia. The being has the ability to shapeshift from spiritual form to physical form, and they see it as the primary caretaker who watches over the land. Kelsey's grandpa was the one who told him that people who have seen it, smelled it, seen its prints, they've been given the blessing to actually experience it. So, if you go out looking for him, you're probably never going to find him. He's going to find you. The Sasquatch, not my friend Kelsey. Kelsey's not going to find you. We could try and find him, though. He's probably out playing soccer or maybe making drums. His son Keegan made this one for me out of an elk that they harvested not far from where I went Sasquatch hunting. Back to the story at hand. The word Sasquatch is an anglicized version of the Sts'ailes Nation's word for it, which is Sts'ailes. That's almost how it's pronounced in the Halkomelem language. And we've been calling it that ever since. Now you know. Each episode, I bring you a different artifact from BC's history, and today's comes from the official Sasquatch Museum. It's located on the right-hand side, right as you drive into the town of Harrison Hot Springs. It just opened up a few months ago, and it's free to visit. The museum is attached to the visitor center and it has a bunch of different exhibits, as well as information for tourists. That's you. That's also me. And they also have stuff you can buy. Plushies, stickers, t-shirts, that sort of thing. One of the coolest things there is a replica of a mask that was made by someone from the Sts'ailes First Nation and is similar to one that was stolen by the same guy who anglicized the word Saskatch. This mask was carved by Ambrose Point and was worn in the original Sasquatch Days celebrations in the 1930s. In 1939, it was stolen by the government's Indian agent, J.W. Burns. That's the guy who wrote for the article for Maclean's magazine, where the word Sasquatch first appeared. He then donated to the Museum of Vancouver, and it sat in their holdings for 75 years until it was repatriated back to the nation in 2014. I'm not sure of its exact whereabouts right now, but the first time I saw it in person was at the Sts'ailes band office back in 2016. This replica of a similar mask is on display at the Sasquatch Museum, which again, it's free to enter. Stop by next time you're there, maybe even take a day trip out there. You just might spot a Sasquatch. No, just kidding. You definitely won't spot a Sasquatch. Coming up next, we have comedian Brent Butt, who you may not know is somewhat of an expert on Sasquatch. Brent Butt is one of my favorite Vancouverites. He's a comedian, he's an author, he's a fan of cheesies and Crown Royal, and he also is a Sasquatch enthusiast. Most people don't know that. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
What first got you interested in Sasquatch?
I remember the day specifically. My family was visiting a family that were friends of ours, and I was on the floor drawing, as I always was, and my dad and his buddy, Joe, Big Joe, was talking, and Joe said to him, "You hear about these stories?" He was from Hungary. "You hear about these stories? These people see this giant wild man in the woods." And I became fascinated. I listened to them talk about it, and as they talked, I started drawing it. And I was fascinated ever since.
Do you still have the drawings?
Plus, Legend of the Boggy Creek came out around that same time. Legend of Boggy Creek, first Sasquatch movie I was aware of. So, yeah, I'll doodle Sasquatch all the time.
All right. Is there Sasquatch in Saskatchewan?
There have been reports. There was a time when there were no Sasquatch reports in Saskatchewan. There was a time when there were two places. I remember the North American map. There were two places that didn't have a sighting. Sasquatch is one of them, and I'm blanking on the other one. But now, every place has. People don't understand how much bush is in northern Saskatchewan. Like the southern half is flat. Bad place to be a Sasquatch. You can't hide. Lay in the ditch for a couple of days maybe. Crawl into a culvert, that kind of thing. But the northern half, a lot of bush. Fantastic place for a Sasquatch.
Do you believe in Sasquatch?
I hope. I'm driven by hope. I love the idea of there being just a giant primordial primate we haven't discovered walking around, roaming the woods. But I wouldn't say that I'm a believer. I want there to be, and I haven't heard any good reason not to believe it could be out there. So I'm a fingers crossed kind of guy.
And you've read a lot of the books.
Yeah.
Obviously. Have you read this one?
Yeah, I've read of Jocko, not this specific book, but The Strange Story of Jocko, the Ape Boy, yeah.
Jocko, the Ape Boy?
Yeah, they had him in custody, right?
Yeah.
He got hit by a train, right?
Yes.
And the folks at the train thought, well, we should throw this thing in a cage.
After they threw a rock at its head.
Yeah, as people do. They had science was different in those days. And but they let it escape. So that, to me, that seems a little sketchy, seems a little iffy.
The sketchy thing about that to me is that there was only one newspaper article about it, and
Yeah.
we never had a follow-up that said, well, Jocko escaped.
Yeah.
It was just the one.
Seems like it should have been a bigger story.
It should have been. If it happened now, I think everybody would have it on their phones.
Well, sure, yeah. The iPhones in the 1800s were of terrible quality. They were just terrible. And the reception, don't get me started on the reception.
Speaking of, there's a Sasquatch emoji coming.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, September.
See, how much more mainstream do you need?
What are we
What
going
do
to
you
use
need
it
to
for?
believe? It's got an emoji, for the love of fudge.
Would you use the Sasquatch? Like, I'm struggling to figure out what you would use the Sasquatch emoji for.
Yeah, it was very specific. Guess what I just saw as you pulled over on the side of the woods?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know when it would come up, but I suppose if you're really into it, you could just sign off. I could sign off. I could send somebody a text and sign off with that, and they would know who it is.
They would know that it's
Yeah, they would be like, oh, maniac Sasquatch guy. Yeah, I'll work them into any conversation. It's a fantastic reference.
Have you ever gone on a hunt?
No, that's the last place. I've been invited. People say, because they know I'm a Sasquatch nut, and they say, well, we're going out in the woods for 10 days to hunt the Sasquatch. You want to come? No. I don't ever want to be in the same room with one. I don't want to be within where it can get a hold of me. That's the last thing I want. I'm sort of fascinated by the wolf man also. I don't want to, I read Dracula. It doesn't mean I want to go on a vampire hunt. No, I hope that they find one and I can see it on TV.
You don't want to see it.
I don't want to. I would drop dead of a heart attack. I'd fill my trousers and drop dead in 2 seconds if I saw one in real life.
Okay.
Even if, they're often purported to be quite gentle.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'd be like, pardon me while I drop dead.
We've never heard of a Sasquatch attacking anybody.
You haven't?
I haven't.
Oh, there's many
Really?
reports. Certainly, because they're territorial. They protect their territory and that kind of thing. And there have been stories of people torn apart in a way that they can't figure out what tore it apart. So they're out there, those stories. But yeah, they're not common. They're not. I don't think when Sasquatch wakes up in the morning, I don't think he's like, I can't wait to tear a person apart.
I don't think so.
It's circumstantial. So if you mind your P's and Q's and don't go on a Sasquatch hunt, that's how I'm avoiding being torn apart.
Yeah. Well, I went on a Sasquatch hunt once.
Madness. You're lucky to be alive.
With this guy. Look at that business card.
Yeah. How do you
pull it up on
not?
the screen?
How do you not?
Yeah.
That's something
So that
Jim
is
Rockford would print off in the back of his Firebird.
That's someone's actual title. And we went on a hunt and we didn't see a Sasquatch. But we saw all the places looking over Harrison Lake where a lot of the Sasquatch sightings have appeared.
Harrison hotbed, yeah.
There you go. You wrote a book, which we should probably plug your book here.
Not a Sasquatch book.
Absolutely not a Sasquatch book. And the part of the reason why I brought it up is because the book's doing really well, still doing really well. And I wonder, would you ever write a book about Sasquatch or have Sasquatch as a character in a book?
Just a secondary character, a love interest, perhaps?
Sure.
I could see myself writing a book about Sasquatch. I sort of have an idea about a guy who's being terrorized by something that he thinks might be Sasquatch that we don't ever ultimately see. We don't ever ultimately know what it is. So I sort of have the framework for that story.
Nice.
But it's not the next story. The next story I'm but partway through my next novel now.
Okay.
Which is also a dark psychological thriller like my first one, Huge.
Fantastic.
That's as much as I had 35 years in stand-up comedy, when I write my novels, turns out they're kind of dark and scary.
Like this Sasquatch.
Yeah, I'm a layered individual. I have varied interests.
Well, thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Appreciate all your thoughts about Sasquatch. Maybe we'll see him someday. Maybe we won't.
I think we will.
Brent Butt, Sasquatch enthusiast, believes that Sasquatch might be out there. We're going to go to commercial, and when we come back, Nina Savage on the street asking people what they think of Sasquatch. Welcome back to Now You Know BC. We've got roving reporter Nina Savage out in the streets asking people about the hairy beast.
Thanks, Bob. I'm Nina Savage, and this is Street Survey, where we find out what you know on Now You Know BC. Today we're here with the Grass Squatch in Ambleside, and we're asking locals what they know about the Sasquatch. Do they believe? Let's find out.
I believe it depends on your imagination and how vivid it is.
Do you believe in the Sasquatch, yes or no?
No, I don't think so.
Whenever I hear people think that it doesn't exist, I just shake my head because I know it does.
Somebody might have seen something many years ago and didn't know what it was. But now, of course, we're in the scientific age and we know there's no such thing.
So would you say that the Sasquatch is friend or foe?
Friend, definitely friend.
A sweet guy.
Guy that loves the trees as much as we do.
What do you think the chances are that the Sasquatch exists?
I feel like, I don't know, I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but maybe like 40% chance.
Okay, if you had to put money on him not existing, what's the dollar amount you'd put?
Millions.
Millions. All right.
I'm going 55 miles an hour, my headlights are on, and all of a sudden in front of me, I see this bear right in my headlights. So I thought, what the is a bear doing in the prairies of Montana? It saw my headlights, it stood up on its hind legs, ran down the slope, and cleared that fence like an athlete.
If you spend a lot of time in the forest and you think you might see some signs, then you can believe, right?
What would you say to Sasquatch?
I'd say, honestly, keep being mysterious.
Yeah, don't come down here. Stay up in the forest.
Yeah.
I saw it as clear as can be. It probably didn't see me coming. It was right in my headlights, I actually had to slow down. I thought I was going to hit the thing. Stood up and it ran away. And that is a true story.
What would you say to believers?
Well, they probably think the Canucks are going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Seems like people are pretty skeptical, but there definitely are believers. What do you think? This is Street Survey, and I'm Nina Savage.
Let's go on a BC road trip to Harrison Hot Springs. This is the absolute hotbed when it comes to Sasquatch activity. And there's also lots of other stuff going on there, which we will get to first. It's located just a couple hours outside of Vancouver, just a ways past Chilliwack. When you're out there, do not miss the Sasquatch Museum. I've said this before, you absolutely cannot miss it, and you can't miss it, because right out in front of it is a Sasquatch holding a sign that says Sasquatch Museum. Rick Hansen actually cut the ribbon for its opening a few months ago. And I'm not kidding when I say that they have more wooden Sasquatch carvings per capita in this town than any other place in Canada. There's a lot of them. They're all next to the road, next to a sidewalk. You can make a game of seeing how many you can take your photo with, starting with this one at the edge of town as you drive in. 3 other things to check out while you're there. 1, the hot springs. Duh, this is the main attraction. This is the reason the resort municipality even exists. It was built around the natural hot springs that attracted visitors, and then they named the frickin' town after them. There's 2 places where you can relax in the hot springs water: the community center or the Harrison Hot Springs Resort. The resort is fancier. It has a bunch of different pools. There's a spa. There's a couple restaurants. It's been there forever, and it is absolutely wonderful. This is where I stay when I go there. Number 2, festivals. Sasquatch Days started in the 1930s and most recently is a partnership between the Sts'ailes First Nation and the town. It's free. They've got a salmon barbecue, war canoe races, medicine walks, a lot more. It takes place at the end of June. The other festival that happens there is the Harrison Festival of the Arts, which is a music and visual arts festival. They bring in different acts from all around the world, and many, if not most, of the shows are free. Number 3, fishing. Even if you're not a fisher and you've never been fishing in your life, you're gonna want to experience fishing for sturgeon here. Like Sasquatch, the elusive, endangered white sturgeon lurk in the area. But unlike the Sasquatch, they're not actually elusive. You definitely will catch one if you go out with somebody who knows what they're doing. I go out with BC Sport Fishing Group. They'll take you out on the Harrison River, throw the lines out for you, get everything ready, and when a fish hits, you just reel it in. And you're like, Bob, why are you catching these fish if they're endangered? And I'm like, it's all in the name of conservation. Hello? Every time you catch one of these fish, your guide will weigh it, measure it, then scan it to see if it actually has a microchip installed in its head. They report all of its vital information back to the Fraser River Sturgeon Conservation Society. The society then uses the data collected from your fish to track the overall health of the sturgeon population. The fish that I caught was 300 pounds, and they estimated that it was around 150 years old. It had a tag installed in it, so my guide, Tony, was able to bring up all of the previous places it had been caught and weighed. So head out to Harrison Hot Springs, enjoy the mineral pools, eat some food, relax on the edge of the lake, maybe go fishing, check out some festivals if it's the right time of year, and enjoy your road trip. Now we're gonna go to commercial. I might come back and give you some stuff, but I'm definitely gonna tell you some more stories. Welcome back to Now You Know BC. In my next story, 2 of my favorite subjects collide: baseball and Sasquatch. Did you know that the author of the book that would become the movie Field of Dreams lived and died in BC, not far from where it was said that a Sasquatch was once captured? It's true. The author W.P. Kinsella was born in Alberta but moved to BC in his 30s. He lived in Victoria, where he worked as a taxi driver, and then he ran an Italian restaurant. Not Pagliacci's, which is one of the best restaurants in town. You gotta eat there. Then, he wrote one of the best baseball books of all time, Shoeless Joe. If you haven't seen the movie that this book became, Field of Dreams, the storyline is, now buckle up. Kevin Costner has a dream. He goes and he finds the reclusive author J.D. Salinger, who's referred to as Terrence Mann in the film and is played by James Earl Jones. He then turns his cornfield into a baseball diamond, and the 1919 Chicago White Sox baseball team's ghosts, one of which is his dad, come and play games there, and then he makes a bunch of money off of it, and then he lives happily ever after with his family. W.P. Kinsella was hit by a car in 1997 and suffered a head injury, much like the Sasquatch that was captured in Yale, BC. They threw a rock at its head. He didn't write another book for a decade and a half after his injury. Then he spent his final years in Yale, which is a sleepy little town in the Fraser Canyon. He died in 2016 at 81 years old, and we don't know if he believed in Sasquatch or not. But now you know. You want to win some stuff? Of course, I want to give you some stuff. Today, I am not giving away my beloved Vancouver 2010 plushie of Quachi. No, I'm giving away 5 Cbus Memes t-shirts to one lucky person worth around $200. These t-shirts are screen printed on Oak Street in Vancouver by a company called True North Screen Printing. If you need shirts made, look those guys up. Cbus Memes is a popular Instagram account that you probably are already following. They've got around 200,000 followers. It's run by someone who calls himself Daddy Cbus, and they make light of the news, life in general in Vancouver, and sometimes further afield in our province. It's a silly account, it's great stuff, but I am tired of people accusing me of being the person behind the account. It's not me, okay? Clearly, it's a millennial running this account. And A, I'm not a millennial. I'll take it as a compliment if you do call me one. B, I'm not funny enough to come up with this stuff. I'm not funny at all. And C, I'm busy. They're pumping out like 5 memes a day over there. I know who Daddy Cbus is, but I promise you, it's not me. Sign up to my newsletter at bcbob.ca to enter to win these t-shirts and to get regular emails from me in your inbox. Stories. That's the show for this week. Big thanks to Brent Butt, Cbus Memes, and especially Kelsey Charlie and the Sts'ailes First Nation. I hope you learned something, and I hope that one day maybe you'll receive the gift of seeing Sasquatch. Follow me on Instagram, check out my merch at bcbob.ca, and I'll see you next week when we will explore more stories about this great province of ours. Now you know BC.